Hey everyone, this is Shane from PlainShaneDesign.com. I'm going to be doing a video tutorial that goes along with my CSS drop-down tutorial, and so here we go. If you look on my site, you can go and you'll see the demo, but I'm going to show you the demo here. This is basically what we're going to be making. So click on here and you have the hover, and then there's your drop-down menu with a few various hovers. So that is what we're going to be doing. Alrighty, so let's get started. Let's close out of this. Alright, so open up your the text editor of your choice. I'm going to use TextMate here. I really like this application. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started, and let's write in our basic HTML. If you're using Dreamweaver, then it'll automatically do it for you, and this actually will too. But I'm just going to go ahead and do it so you can see me go from the very beginning. Okay, alright, that'll work for now. Okay, so first we're gonna need some styles. So let's go ahead and put our style in there. So let's do that. Okay. Alright, so now we got that there. Got a space for that. Alright, let's start the HTML. Now, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to start off with an unordered list. So let's go ahead and start with the unordered list. And let's go ahead and put in some list items. And we're going to copy this 4 times. So let's just drop down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Come down here and close the unordered list. And for each one, we're going to give it a name. So we're going to say home, about me, portfolio, and I spelled that wrong. Portfolio and contact. Alright, these are just going to be some basic examples. Now, so this basic structure here, let's go ahead and save it, index.html, or whatever you'd like to name it. And I'm going to save mine on the desktop. Okay. Alright. So, if we preview this in the browser, you notice we have a nice little list here. Okay. Obviously, that's not what we want, but go ahead from there. Now, there's a couple things I forgot. We're going to go ahead and create a couple divs here. We're going to have a div here, and we're going to give it an ID of navcon, which is going to be our nav container. I'll tell you about this in a minute. We're also going to have just a regular nav div. Just make sure you come down here and close both of these, and let's close both of them. Now, if you make it easier to keep track of them, you can use an HTML comment, which, if you look at the syntax I'm using right here, that'll do it. And I usually do something like this, so I know that the nav is closed. And then I come and do the same thing. Now, for this example here, this is not a very big deal, but when you start getting a whole bunch of code, it just makes it easier, especially if somebody's trying to troubleshoot your code or just looking at it. So it's a good thing to get into the habit of doing. So, okay, now let's go ahead and add our anchor tags in. And right now we can just use the £, which that'll just take us to the top. And so go ahead and add that into each one here, because obviously your links are going to link somewhere, so we're going to want that. Okay. Resave that. Okay. Alright, now so go behind the closing anchor tag in portfolio and enter down 3 times or so, and then we have to create another unordered list. I know it seems really weird, but this is how you do it. So you can see on portfolio we are creating another unordered list inside of the portfolio list item. So whatever we put in these list items here are going to be our drop-down menu. So I'll do 3 there, and then I'll close the unordered list. Okay, so from portfolio, let's do, print. Print, web, and maybe tutorials. Okay, so save that, and let's preview it. There we go, that comes out perfectly. So we have, under portfolio, we have print, web, and tutorials. Now what we do need to do is go ahead and add the anchor tags to these, because these will need to be linked to also. Okay. Alright, so save it, and let's go back and make sure they are linked correctly. Yep, okay, so they're good. Alrighty, well, now we can go ahead and start with the menu. Alright, so we're going to come up here, and we are going to, and if you don't know anything about CSS, unfortunately this tutorial is probably not for you. I'm not going to explain, everything about it, so I'm already expecting you to know how to call an element inside CSS, so hopefully, if not, I'll make another tutorial down the road. Alright, so we're going to call the navcon, and in there we're going to give it a background of white, okay, and a width of 100%, so that'll go all the way across the page. Okay, alright, so let's go down now, and let's go call our nav. Okay, for our nav, we're going to give it a width of 377 pixels, and a height of 56 pixels. We are going to position it relative. And our text color is going to be a light gray, so we're going to 999 there, and let's go ahead and do a font family. Helvetica. And we are going to center it on the page using margin 0 auto. Okay. Gonna give it a font size of 0.9 ems. Okay, so now let's move on to the unordered lists. So we'll go nav ul, and we do not want any bullets on our lists, so list style type equals none. Okay, and then we're going to call nav ul li and tell it to float left, and what this is going to do is basically take each list item that we have for the main ul, which is our main list items, and we're going to float them left so that they display in line, or so that they're right next to each other. So that's what we're doing there, and give this position. Okay, so save it and let's check it. Alright, that's fine for now. The reason there's a gap there is because we haven't hidden the other 3, but we shortly will. So let's go ahead and enter down, and now we're going to affect the anchor tag of our main list items. So this is where we're going to give it really the look that it has in the demo. So we're going to give it a border right of 1 pixel solid, and the color I chose was E9, E9, E9. Alright, and then we're going to give it padding 20 pixels. We want the text to be aligned center. I said aligned. Okay. And the color to be gray. Alright, so I think we're good there. Oh wait, one more thing. We need to do text decoration. Set it to none, because if not, they will have an underline underneath the text. We don't want that. So, alright, so let's enter down. Alright, so now we're calling the anchor tag and on the hover of the anchor tag. So that's what we are affecting now. So the first thing we're going to do is give it a background. This is going to be the background color that you see when you hover over, which I used 12A, I believe. Yes. Okay. And we also want to change the text color. I chose to change it, and I changed it to white, and that's it. Alright, so come down and call the nav ul li ul. Alright, so let me explain this. We are inside of the we're calling the nav div first, and then we are going inside the ul, then inside the li, then inside of the ul. So what we need to do is hide this section of the code, because we only want it to show up when the first list item is hovered over. So we want to display none here. One more thing I forgot. Go ahead and do an asterisk here, and we're going to say margin 0 pixels. Basically what this does is it's going to override the browser style sheet, because each browser has a default style sheet that it will apply to your HTML pages. But so basically what we're doing with this is we're overriding the browser style sheet so that it does not apply any margin or padding to any of the elements. So that means that's our job to do, which is fine, and this helps for cross-browser compatibility also. So, back to where we were. So after we displayed it none, let's go ahead and save it and view it in the browser. And there we go. So we got them all working. The hover's working fine. Okay. So, next, here's how we're going to get the drop-down menu to work. We're going to go nav ul li hover ul. So we're telling it when we hover over the portfolio list, which is here, and the ul is what we're going to have to display. So we're going to do our curly brackets, and we're going to say display block. And here we are going to say position absolute. And these are important, as with the relative up top, because of the positioning of the list. So you don't really need to understand that. Just put it in, because basically that's what makes it sit right under the portfolio. So we're going to save it and check it now. And so we have a somewhat working version. It's not completely ready yet because we haven't finished the styles yet. So we're going to cancel out. Now we're going to start styling it. So do nav ul li hover ul li a. Okay, so here's what we're going to be affecting. With this call here, we are going to be affecting the A tag, or the anchor tag here. So let's go ahead and come in here and do a background, and we're going to give it the same background as the first list. Okay. We're going to give the text color white, and we're going to display it block so that the whole block is clickable and not just the actual text. Okay, so let's go down. Now we are going to use this the hover state. So this is the first state, and this is the hover state of that. So we're going to give it a different background. Your background is 6 DC 7 EC. Okay, and we're also going to give the text color white. Alright, so let's save that and take a look at it in the browser. And there we go. See how you have the nice little hover effect? And our width is still messed up, but we're going to change that in just a second. Okay, I forgot a few attributes in here for the for this call right here. Alright, so we're going to give it a border bottom of 1 pixels solid, and the color is going to be, there you go, and we're also going to say border right, border right is none. No, I'll come back and explain that later. And we also need to give it a width, and this is going to be the width of our drop down section. So I've already measured it out, and 110 is fine, and you may need to adjust that depending on how long your drop down text is. So we're going to save it. Alright, so let's check it in the browser. There we go. Now, I did forget one thing. We also need to do is, actually you don't have to, but I like it. Here, I don't like how the portfolio and the print kind of seem to go together. I think it needs a border top. So we need to specifically call that first list item. So give this list class of top. Okay, and then we can come in here in our CSS and do top and say border, can't type today, border top 1 pixel solid. I believe what was the bottom border? Okay, so I added an extra number sign in there. Okay, so save it. Now it should give a border. There we go. So now we have now portfolio and print are separated by that top border. And there you go. Now if you want to set it up like I have in my demo, you also need to give this first list item a border left. So since it has no border on the left and it looks kind of odd, so you could again give this a class of first. Come in here and do first. Let's see, border left 1 pixel solid, and the color was E9. Save it. Alright, so now we got that border in. Now the other thing, let's just do this real quick. If we can call the body, and we're going to give the body a different background, and we're just going to say background is this kind of medium gray here. So save it, and there you go. You have exactly what I created. It's very nice, very clean. So, alright, well, again, this has been a tutorial for PlainShaneDesign.com. If you have any other questions, you can email me or contact me from my contact page. Also, contact me if you have a tutorial that you have in mind or something that you've been wanting to learn. Maybe I can create it and help you out. So just let me know, and thanks a lot.